What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gooner channel, a channel 100% dedicated to the Arsenal, who, as we all know, are by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. And today, we got our Champions League back in the draw for the first time in 6 years. When Arsene Wenger arrived at Arsenal, in his first full season, he qualified us for the Champions League and then continued to qualify us for 19 consecutive seasons, which saw us reach 4 quarter-finals, 2 semi-finals and a final. And he even referred to qualifying for the Champions League through what were difficult times as tantamount to a trophy, a controversial statement which saw many people angered by that. But in the 6 years we've not been in it, kind of see he might have been right after all. I will be honest, in 2016-17, when we went out in the last 16 to Bayern Munich, losing 5-1 at home and 5-1 away, 10-2 on aggregate, I can't have been the only one who was quite glad to see the back of the Champions League. It felt like we'd lost all of our mojo in that tournament. And I was actually expecting the Europa League to offer us some respite and the chance of some European silverware, which all Arsenal fans know is very long awaited. The last time we won anything in Europe was in 1994. Alan Smith's goal beating Parma, who were very strong favourites, with Faustino Asprilla up front, with Thomas Brolin up front, and of course Gianfranco Zola. Somehow we kept them out, and Alan Smith's only goal I can remember from outside the area being enough to take the silverware that day in the Cup Winners' Cup. A tournament doesn't even exist anymore. And even though in 2006, when we reached the final, we've done so not conceding a goal, an early sending off for our goalkeeper, Jens Lehmann. Well, look, I'm telling you what you already know. But we're back. We're back, everybody. And there is a nice little symmetry to this as well, because the draw today pitted us against Sevilla, one of the most successful European teams when it comes to Europa League. They've won it 7 times. In fact, they are the current holders. PSV Eindhoven, who we played in the Europa League last season, and Lens. And what's interesting about this is that in that first year that Arsene Wenger qualified us for the Champions League, we played our home games in the competition at Wembley because Highbury wasn't quite big enough, and we played Lens. And I'm not sure how to pronounce that, by the way. It's either Lens or Lens. Forgive me. But we didn't actually play very well at all, didn't get out of the group stages in either of our first 2 seasons in it, memorably losing 1-0 to Lens at home with 2 sendings off Ray Parlour, and I forget the name of their player. Hugely underwhelming. The only thing I remember about the game, actually, was that for every one of those 3 games in the Champions League we played at Wembley, the crowd was fantastic, and hearing 70,000 people singing Vieira still sends shivers up my spine now thinking about it. But today, I have to be honest, when it comes to the draw for the Champions League, of course, you want a nice, easy group if you can get it. And this on paper doesn't look so intimidating. Of course, Sevilla are a proven European winning machine. But, you know, you have to fancy us to get results at least at home against them. PSV, who will, of course, be without Xavi Simons and Cody Gakpo. And Lens, who maybe we can put it right this time and thrash them and get through to the last 16, where hopefully we can put things right against Bayern Munich with Harry Kane in the team. That's what we're hoping. That's the dream. I want to know from you if you're happy with the draw or not. Of course, it's divisive. Some of you wanted to get Barcelona, AC Milan, Napoli, that kind of competition. And others among you just want to get through it and make sure that we get as far into this tournament as we can. I honestly think that we should be aiming for at least quarterfinals. And when you looked at the final 4 last season, the 2 Milan teams, I think we've got a really good chance. I think we're up there with some of the best teams in Europe. Only time will tell. Let me know in the comments what you think. But this video is really much more about tomorrow night's transfer deadline. Transfer window closes at 11 p.m. GMT on the 1st of September. And speaking immediately after the draw, when asked about any potential players coming in, Edu said the following. Well, as everyone can see, we made one very strong strategy to be very proactive at the beginning of the transfer window, and I think we did it. And we did. We went out there and completed our business early enough to have Timber and Havertz and Rice in the pre-season tour of the United States. Rice was obviously the top priority, and we managed to fend off competition from all of the biggest clubs in the world, including treble winners Manchester City. Kai Havertz, who was a sort of surprise, opportunistic signing, second most expensive signing in our history at that point, still divisive to this day. Hopefully he will show us what he's capable of this season and end the angry debate about whether he's good enough for the club. And Jurrien Timber, who was a very promising player from Ajax, somebody who could come in and give us much needed cover on the right hand side of the defence and the centre of defence. And then out of left field, literally, he played the pre-season at left back, which was not something I'd been anticipating, and arguably was our player of the pre-season. Played in the Community Shield, and then 55 minutes into his Premier League debut, picked up an anterior cruciate ligament injury. Rumours from within inside the Arsenal medical team are that we expect this injury to keep him out for 7 months. So the earliest return we can expect from him, of course, is March, by which time, hopefully, we'll be miles clear of the Premier League and he'll just be coming in to help us cross the line. So Edu goes on to say, and now we're talking about trying to balance the squad a little bit better. So I don't know about you, but that to me very much sounds like players out rather than players in. But he goes on to say, we keep talking to a few clubs. So far, we're really happy with the transfer window. And we have to say, of course, thank you very much to everyone who works in a club to make that happen. So good, exciting season ahead of us. And I really think it will be an exciting season. And I do still think that the transfer window was good. However, there is a problem here. Up until last week, the criticism of Edu was not the players he'd brought in or the contracts he'd extended, but the fact that we had so many players, the dead wood, if you want, that still needed clearing out. Now, among those were Holding, Cedric, Tavares, Lokonga, Pepe, and you could include Balogun, who clearly had decided to leave. We've also since then lost Kieran Tierney to Real Sociedad, and we have now completed the signing to Monaco of Balogun for almost a club record with a 17.5% sell-on clause. So we may not have seen the last pennies we're going to get from that transfer. But we are really close, apparently, to losing Rob. We are really close, apparently, to sealing a move away for Rob Holding. Tavares is close to a loan move to Nottingham Forest. Sambi Lokonga has got interest from abroad. And Cedric will either have his contract terminated. It's unlikely he's going to be part of the team. And of course, Pepe, we await eagerly to see if anyone comes in for him. But again, it's more likely that we tear up his contract. So with those players out, do Arsenal need to be shoring up the defence? Well, I kind of think yes. Arsenal have a total of 9 defenders in the squad. It's of course looking like Cedric and Holding will go. That takes us down to 7 players. Now, whilst I think Timber was fantastic business and it is a terrible shame, can't really blame Edu for his injury, can we really go into the start of a Premier League season with Champions League football, only 6 first-team defenders? It seems a little bit light, doesn't it? I know you can't blame Edu for Timber's injury. It was a great piece of business and really provided us the cover. But without him, we don't have that. We do have 2 players who can play on the left. We do have 2 players who can play on the right. And we have players who can play centre-back. But can we really expect to go an entire season with all of those players? Surely 6 players is not enough. We have to be looking to do some business. Over the last couple of weeks, since Timber's injury, I had been hopeful we might sign Pavard, Laporte, Cancelo, Mark Guehi was talked about a great deal, but it's gone very quiet since then. In fact, most of the talk as we go into the close of the transfer window tomorrow has been about players leaving. There was speculation about Emil Smith-Rowe, a hugely popular member of the squad, and I don't think anyone wants to see him go, and it looks now that he will be staying. Gabriel, of course, left out of the first 3 Premier League games. There was speculation he might be going to Saudi Arabia. That now doesn't look like it's happening. But there is no speculation I've seen so far that we're in for anyone at all. And that worries me. I am doing a live watch-along for the last hour of the transfer window tomorrow. I'd love you to join me on that one. Without But it really is starting to feel to me like we've done our last bit of business. Nothing that Edu said there makes me think that we're going in for anyone. Ansu Fati, a player, admittedly not a defender, but a player that I really wanted us to go for. Looks like he might be going to Brighton on a season-long loan. And I've got mixed feelings about that, really, because I really want to see him play in the Premier League. But do I really want to see him be an outstanding player who could have been playing at Arsenal? I know it's difficult. Where would he play? He's obviously leaving Barcelona because they're not giving him minutes. There's been talk, of course, of a ridiculous swap deal for Mykhailo Mudryk and Emil Smith-Rowe. That was never going to happen. So, as it stands, I really do think that we need to be pulling out all the stops. I know it's difficult at the last few days of the transfer window. I know nobody wants to lose anyone, and you might be looking at spending money on a player who might become surplus to requirements the moment Timber is injury-free. Or maybe we're thinking of holding on till January. I don't know if that's a good strategy either, because in January, the transfer prices aren't any better than they are in the last few days of the window. I am really hopeful that we do some last minute business and we've just kept it under wraps. But all the signs at the moment point to this being the squad we're going to have, and that transfer deadline day is going to be about players leaving rather than players coming in. Let me know if there's something I've missed, if you've heard something through the grapevine. As I said, I'm doing a watch along tomorrow, starts at 10 p.m. GMT. I'd love to have you there watching. You know, more often than not, these transfer deadline days are quite disappointing in the last few hours, unless we sign like a Kim Kallstrom, in which case they're a disaster. Anyway, Champions League football is back. I'm going to stay upbeat and positive about that. I'm looking forward to progress. I think we have a winnable group on paper. We should go through, and the excitement all starts in the last 16 of the Champions League. Can we go all the way? I want to hear your comments. Anyway, with 24 hours to go to the close of the transfer window and nothing looking likely, are Edu and his team going to surprise us yet again with an excellent bit of transfer business? Or is that just wishful thinking? Let me know in the comments. And until I see you tomorrow, be lucky and lots of love. Go for it.
People, now subscribe.